How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Ideanomics, IDEX. We've seen it pull back quite a bit. They ended up releasing their earnings, and of course, Wall Street wasn't impressed by this whatsoever. We'll talk about it further. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, and if you are interested in buying shares, where are some levels to look out for so you are actually maximizing your entry. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information and as well as the recent institutional ownership. We want to know our institutions loading up on shares and how heavily vested are shorts inside of this play. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. Are institutions loading up on shares in regards to large scale orders, or are they selling? We're about to find that out. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for Ideanomics. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $2.05, being down 3.98%. On the low, it tested $2.04, and then on the high, testing $2.15. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, we traded at 7.622 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days ended up being at 11.93 million shares. So we had below average volume, so we ended up seeing some pressure on the overall stock price. When we take a look at our chart, which is a 1-year daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's well beaten up, being around 32.82, so it is in the oversold territory. Now, when we take a look at indicators on the chart, we are below the 21-day EMA, we're also below the 200-day, and we're also below the 100-day. So by taking a look at this price action, of course, the pattern is looking fairly bearish here, and there's a lot more downside that IDEX can be exposed to. I have to be completely honest with you guys here. So one thing that I want to bring to your attention, I will be considering to add to my position when it gets below $2. I'm not going to be adding whatsoever at $2 or below. We do know for a fact, though, there is some support here at this $2 level, but I'm seeing it breaking, especially since small cap stocks have been getting a lot of selling pressure as of late. This is why I wouldn't be too shocked if IDEX goes into the $1 range. And if it does decide to do that, where I'm going to be actually looking out for to see if it can hold up will be right here around this $1.92 level. If it decides to pull back even further, I'll be looking out here at $1.82, and if it decides to pull back even more, I'll be very curious to see how well it holds up 178. As you can see, we have a big time gap, and the next area where we have some strong support is right here around 150, where I would actually consider to start adding some more shares if it got down this low. As far as a reversal is concerned, if you want to look forward to seeing some momentum and needs to come back to reclaim the 21-day EMA here at $2.35. It did get up to $2.15 on the day, so of course you're going to want to look forward for it to test that again going into tomorrow with momentum and as well as some volume, and seeing if you can get at least some price action going to here right around $2.29. And if that continues, then you'll end up reaching the 21-day, but I'm really not seeing it. Of course, I can be wrong, but from what I'm seeing right here, this will be a stock that I will continue to keep on my watch list closely. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for Ideanomics. So as we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at what's been happening as far as filings, we have for the 19th alone, we have Penn Series Fund that went in with just over 13,000 shares. We do have a negative for Y Strategic Interval Fund being here at negative 7,000, just over over 7,000 shares actually, and also TUSA First Trust Total US Market Alpha DEX ETF that purchased 783 shares. Taking a look at what happened as well as on the 18th, we do see some purchasing, but nothing heavy whatsoever. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Now, when we take a look at the short interest information, as we scroll down on the page, the short shares availability is at 400,000, updated 11 minutes ago. And for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 5.80%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we could see here clearly, as far as for the 16th close, it was at 66.50. And then for the 17th close, it was at 55.73. And now for the 18th close, which was yesterday, being at 26.42. So it has gone down quite a bit. So what we can get from this is IDEX being close to the bottom in regards to its stock price. This is one thing we are clearly starting to see, especially since the short volume ratio has gone down to 26%. This is still fairly high. Do keep this in mind, but it's one of those stocks that you want to keep on your watch list. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Ideanomics. So as you see here on the inflow, it's at 1,755, and then on the outflows is at 3,787. So easily it is an outflow day. So we had 0 on the large for both. On the medium, we had 909, and then on the small, we had 845 inflow side. So on the outflow side now, we had 0 on the large, of course. Medium, we had 2,045, and then on the small, 1,741 or 1,741. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for August the 19th, it was 0. But we had big time inflows on the 18th, the 17th, and as well as the 16th. So yes, institutions have been loading up on shares of Ideanomics. So that's something to keep in mind and gives a lot of confidence for anyone who's holding shares for the long term. But do keep in mind there's a lot of volatility that is happening inside of the market, and of course Ideanomics is being impacted by this. So now let's go into the final thoughts and I'll share those extra details with you. So for my final thoughts for Ideanomics, there's a few things that I want to go over. When we went on fintech, we can clearly see it still continues to have short squeeze potential. But do keep in mind of the fact the short volume ratio is a lot better than what we've seen in the past. Taking a look now at the institutional ownership, so seeing institutions purchasing shares, we're not seeing the best of activity in regards to filing. So that's just one thing that I want you to be aware of. When they did end up releasing their earnings, yes, they ended up beating their revenue estimates, but Wall Street was actually expecting a bit more. And I was saying when they had their last earnings report, they ended up beating expectations. So you want to see a continuation of that. And since they didn't do that, of course, they are paying for it. But at the same time, as shareholders, or if you're thinking about to buy shares, you'll be able to buy this stock at a better price. And like I was saying, if it goes down into the mid $1 range, so I'm talking about $1.50, then you already know I'm going to be purchasing up some shares. I can see some upside from that particular level. But another thing also to understand, you want to do your homework and as well as your due diligence before you make your purchase. This is very key. So at least if you go through all the volatility, you won't be complaining or you won't be nervous, because you'll already know and you'll already be prepared, and you will have that high conviction to help you get through it. Now, as far as how the stock market is actually performing and what direction it is actually going in, right now it's focusing on the companies that are putting out good earnings, companies that are profitable. If they are not fitting within this mold, then of course you're going to end up seeing some sell-offs, and Ideanomics has not been immune to that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.